Hey everyone, I'm David Bowler. I'm a 25-year veteran of the comic, animation, and game industry, and I'm about to start my own project. The logo that you see here is from Virtual Graphics. That's the name of my company. The company existed for 15 years, and we have released several dozen graphic novels here in the European market. So let me quickly talk a little bit about myself, and let me introduce myself, and then we'll have a quick look at the projects. Most projects we're obviously going to look in more detail, down the road, but some of them you may actually already be familiar with. So I was born in Zurich, Switzerland in the early 20s. I moved to New York to work for Marvel Comics, doing Spider-Man, Night Thrasher, a variety of titles. After 2 years, I kind of got disenchanted with like the way things were done in the mainstream industry. We can also talk about that a little more down the road. I moved around to various other publishers: DC Comics, Warp Entertainment, Valiant, Acclaim, several image studios like Top Cow, Wildstorm, etc. And eventually ended up with doing some manga for Tokyo Pop, and moved back to Switzerland in the late 2000s, founded Virtual Graphics and started publishing my own graphic novels. A wide variety of subjects, from the eclectic, like a Touareg type of style thing, to William Tell, which is a very popular, obviously hero here in Switzerland, and that did very, very well. But I really got interested into more anime gaming stuff again, and I devised some projects that could be like what's considered to be transmedia. I don't know if you all know what transmedia is, but transmedia is essentially sort of like you have like one overarching story, and you have like various media that all sort of all tie in. I mean, Star Wars has really been doing this for quite a while. However, Star Wars was never conceived to be a transmedia company. It sort of started at one point and sort of spawned into a transmedia company. So you can see some of the examples of what I've been working on the Virtual Graphics website, but I quickly want to go over like the individual titles. I also want to mention everything has a very heavy Web3 slant. Web3, of course, a lot of people don't really like the NFT stuff, and they don't like the crypto stuff. However, let's remind ourselves that we're talking here about technology. We're not talking about people doing stupid things with it. And I think that's where a lot of the hatred comes from. It doesn't actually come because the technology is useless or bad. It comes from the fact that people just think it's a ripoff. But also, let's remember that nobody's getting ripped off more than like entertainment fans, like comic fans and gamers, and just generally about everybody else. So let's quickly look over this. The first project to be launched, and it's the one I've been working on for quite a while, it's called Sky Gods. It's something that's pretty dear to my heart because I've been a long time UFO fan, and I always wanted to do like a pop culture kind of take on popular UFO memes, maybe mythology, whatever you want to call it. So I'm reusing some of the stuff like from UFO history, but also adding a fantasy angle to it. Now this project has grown huge. So this will be a game, it will be an anime, and it will be a graphic novel slash webtoon. The website will launch within the next couple days, and you can see everything there. But this is definitely the one that's has the potential to be quite big. The second project is it's something completely different. It's called Savage Varan Tribe. If you do not know what a Varan is a Komodo dragon. It's sort of like a subgroup of Komodo dragon. And this project goes back to a cartoon that I made when I was in my late teens, basically. So it's sort of something really just out there. And now it's sort of like I've gotten around to it. I always wanted to do something about like an island, or like just like a community on an island, and it's essentially those Varans. They're living on this island, Komodo Island, and there's this bad guy, and he wants to take the island away from them under the pretense that he wants to build hotels. But what he's really after is there's actually a treasure buried on the island. So the first season is called the Hunt for the Treasure of the Calypso. And this will be a webtoon, and this will be actually a full-blown video game. We already have like a custom-made characters and island and everything that I will be showing off in its own dedicated video. Next project is called Chaos Moon. Now this goes back way back. It goes back to the mid 90s when creator-owned comics were really big in the States, and I released 4 books basically through Caliber of Chaos Moon. They were like really highly acclaimed, sort of became cult comics because they were super detailed, and it was just very, very different. I was also nominated for a Russ Manning Award in San Diego. However, the timing could not have been worse. This was the time when the Capital distribution went bust and sort of took most of the industry down with it. And at the same time, the comic was published in German heavy metal, and German heavy metal was also sued by a right-wing Christian attorney. And they also essentially went bankrupt. So basically everybody went bust on this. And there was 4 books released and about a 180-page graphic novel, which actually, and you heard it here first, I will be kickstarting anytime soon. I haven't really done a Kickstarter yet because I'm not really that big of a fan of Kickstarters. Not from a customer perspective, but it's just a lot of work from the creator's perspective. But people have been asking me, when are you going to do something? And, here's a really big news. I got all the original color pages back from the German edition. So this will be the first ever complete English color edition. So if you're a Chaos Moon fan, you got to jump on it because we're going to make it really quick. It's only going to be a 2 or 3 week campaign. I'm not going to sit around here forever, because quite frankly I'm trying to get this out before Christmas, so, or at least early January. So this will be a great Christmas gift for anybody who loves Chaos Moon. And then we have a couple smaller projects that are sort of like in the wings. One of them is called Immortal Coil. It's a Souls-like vampire game. Similar sort of like to V Rising. Not exactly the same though. It's a little darker, a little moodier basically. It also has a webtoon to go along with it. Now this project needs a lot of work. But I've used this project sort of like as a use case for a lot of stuff I've been doing in Web3. Again, we're going to talk about this in a different video. Also, that's a project that has been around for a while. It's called the Girls of Bonneville University. Also something completely different. It actually started out as a pinup project, and it sort of morphed into this sort of like a dating sim type of situation. Now I do own a lot of this artwork basically, so there was a lot to go around. And I've been working on a sim, and eventually this will come out probably like in early next year. So that's been, an overview basically of like the project. I will make individual videos on the project, also tutorials. I've also been working on apps basically to showcase the project. There's so many things that go in and out, so I've been sort of like doing a million things at the same time. And I also want to like show you basically how I've been doing stuff and what it takes to actually do stuff like that, So please let me know in the comments if you like to see more tutorials, if you want to hear more about the projects, or what do you want to see. So we're gonna find our way here. I'll be regularly uploading videos, and hopefully we'll find an audience. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.